to Sam. She would have hunted better. She would have learned to eat the normal stuff that American falcons eat, like duck and pigeons, not rabbits or vermin. She would have been more like a American falcon if Sam wouldn't have interacted with her.
Yeah.
She would know how to be more. But if he didn't, she would have just DDT.
That is a good point. She would have been caught by the DDT. And she would have died.
Ingested DDT, she wouldn't have been able to hatch her eggs if she had those. She wouldn't have been born and she wouldn't have learned to eat rats.
Yeah. DDT, she would have gotten thin-shelled eggs if she tried to sit on them and warm them, keep them warm throughout the winter. So, yeah, that wouldn't work. They just crack.
So you never met John?
Me?
She would have been taken by the poachers.
She still would have been taken by the poachers if they found her. Even if Sam didn't interact with her, they still would have gotten her if they found her. Because they had other wild hawks there. So,
I agree with Jordan because Duchess was taken by poachers and she wasn't attracted by Sam.
yeah, she was a wild hawk.
She would have to take care of the releases. She would have to
ISIS. I'm starting to go back on my decision on why Sam shouldn't have, because if Sam did interact with her, she would have died because of DDT. She wouldn't have been able to hatch eggs. She wouldn't have been able to meet Chuck and the other eggs. Yeah, the other Ices. She wouldn't have met John.
Yeah. Very nice. That was difficult to do, very nice. People on the outside, we've got the people that were watching their partner. You need to make comments on that. But then what did anybody else see that they think they did really well, or give a shout out to somebody in particular? Yeah.
I'm the priest.
Extraordinarily well. Jordan, I was extraordinarily
I
impressed
rule
with
the
you.
church.
Okay,
This is my
Jaylene.
school.
really quiet.
Okay.
And she is like, yeah, no. She's
Who was watching Ruthie? You were?
Yeah.
Okay, so, what was something that Ruthie did well, but then maybe that she'd have to work on?
I'm surprised she actually said something. She had, she was listening
watching everything everyone else was talking to.
So she did good on actually paying attention to everybody. That's good. So that's awesome. What was her goal for herself? To stay focused. And did you think she did a good job of staying focused? Okay. Dawson.
I think that all the other people could like speak up, because, well, not speak up,
I
but
mean, like loudness?
yeah, and like say more, because Jordan said half of the conversation.
I'm the priest.
If Jordan hadn't kept the conversation going, it would have lulled. Which just means there would have been these really long pauses. But Jordan kept it going, and he did it naturally too. He didn't seem like it was forced. He thought, you could tell he was thinking about this. Is he?
I thought Jordan did good because he did a lot of evidence from the text.
Yeah.
And he was actually the only one talking. A lot of other people were just didn't really carry on for the conversation.
Okay. Okay, Zane.
Colby, his goal was to make a lot of comments. He didn't really get that many comments, but whenever he did talk, he made good statements.
Okay, nice. I like that. Sean.
Star, she gave good evidence from the text, and she was in the conversation.
Okay, good. Paxton.
I noticed that there was a little bit of disagreement in there.
Does it make it more interesting when there's a little bit of disagreement?
Yes.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
I would like to say I kind of agree with JT. She wouldn't have been caught by the poachers if Sam didn't interact with her, because normal peregrines hunt duck. That's what they were using.
So that got kind of you thinking about it also while you were listening to it. That's awesome. Kylie.
Well, Star, she did a good job because she used like good evidence from the text, and she spoke up, and I think Jordan did a good job.
Okay, excellent. Alexis.
I think that Jordan and Star did a good job getting into the discussion. Because Jordan was the first one to start it off, and if he didn't start it off, no, it would have been.
I think JT actually made me speak out first. So.
I think that Summer, Ruthie, JT, Nolan, and Cody could have got into the discussion more, like made more discussion.
Made more points.
Yeah.
Okay. Erica.
Summer's goal was to not embarrass herself,
Yeah.
and I don't think she embarrassed herself, but I think she probably could have gotten into the position more.
Okay.
But
She was a little shy still.
But she did have to.
Okay. And she did say something. And the hard thing is you guys did say something. You at least, I think everybody got into the conversation. That was good. We start to see some of our strengths that we have. Jordan, up to this point, might not know that he has a strength in being able to see arguments, and he might say, you know what, when I get to high school, debate might be a great thing for me. I might be really good at this. And it might be part of his goals and what he wants to do in life, too. And he felt there was a very comfortability with his talking. And he didn't seem to be too concerned that he was getting videotaped or anything. He was listening to a person and then saying, you know what, I think I might change my mind on that. And that's exactly what we've always been talking about. Can an argument change our mind? And a good argument should. Janae.
JT and Jordan were fantabulous. I mean, it was like, they were like, to be honest, they were pretty much the only ones.
Okay, what did you like about what JT, nobody said anything specifically about JT, so what did you like about what JT
That
did?
he argued that he, I think it was getting taken by the poachers, and then Jordan argued that she still would.
Okay. JT did something else that was a nice thing, that I don't know, I've not heard anybody make a comment on. Matt?
He tried to encourage people.
Yeah, he kept the, you know, when people weren't talking, he did say, you know, Nolan, do you have something to say? He was kind of the unidentified leader as far as trying to make sure that people were saying something, and everybody seemed okay with that. They didn't seem to, begrudge him the fact that he was doing that, and if he hadn't, the conversation might not have gone as smoothly if he didn't say, do you have something to say? Yes.
Actually I looked up 2 or 3 times and just looked up there and was like, yeah, I'm being videotaped.
But that's okay, you know, and I have to say that Star, like, for a while, everybody was just agreeing with Jordan, you know, and that was fine, but then finally Star mentioned, well, then they, you know, she would have been affected by the DDT, and so that kind of got the other side of the conversation rolling, so don't be afraid to speak out. That was good. And he even eventually got him to change his mind, you know, so.
Yeah. Hi, Dawson.
I think that Nolan could have said a few more things because he, like, the only thing that he said, I'm pretty sure, was I agree with you.
And this is a part where me, I wanted to stop and I wanted to say, well, why do you know, and I had to just bite my tongue on that one. But that's something that one of you guys could have asked and said, and I think JT did, and he said, why? You know, and that's exactly the question. Well, why? If you've got an opinion, you've got to be able to back it up. Alexis?
I agree with Dawson. I think that no one could have said something else. Because everyone knows that no one's got a strong voice. So I think he could have said a lot more.
And it's true. No one does have a lot of good things to say. Okay, very nicely done. For the first.
If Sam didn't interact with Frightful, she would have migrated, and when she would have migrated, she would have probably ate some DDT in it and not be able to have the eggs like to hatch. Yeah, because they would break, and they would and she would be able, and she would have a really short lifespan.
Also, if Sam would have not interacted with Frightful, this is kind of a bad thing. She wouldn't have met John and wouldn't have learned to eat rats. Also, like, she wouldn't have met Chuck and hadn't had the Ices and learned how to just be a mother in general.
Yeah, if Sam did not interact with Frightful, like, she wouldn't know what Falcons ate and stuff, so.
And also she would have hunted with Mole, like, because she would learn how to eat rabbit.
She wouldn't really, if she didn't meet Sam, she wouldn't learn how to hunt as well as she did with Sam. And she wouldn't try like rabbit and stuff.
And she might have not been electrocuted because, or she might have not because she wouldn't be looking around for Sam and stuff.
Yeah, she would.
Yeah, she would have been zapped by the hole and done what the sound did.
And this is going on with Minnie with Chuck. Now she knows like what to do when a male peregrine falcon is doing when it's trying to mate with it.
Yeah, like rush and talons and stuff like that and form around circles.
Yeah.
On the other side of the argument, though, since Sam did interact with Frightful, it did keep her safer, and she would have just like, she would have been safer, but she wouldn't have been like a free bird. She wouldn't have really ever learned to be an actual peregrine falcon. She would just be some bird that was kept in captivity her whole life, and wouldn't really know the outside world, and other than just around the area where she was raised by Sam.
Along with that, like Sam wanted to protect her back a little more than the sisters. And Alice wouldn't really have to set her free if Sam protected her a little more.
And also she wouldn't have migrated, so she wouldn't have got DDT, she would live longer.
Yeah.
She would never be a mother with her 3 chicks. And
what Sean was saying earlier with the, right, she would, yeah, no, when she wouldn't have gotten shocked. If she hadn't been, if Sam hadn't interacted with her, she would have learned to migrate, and that was when she was like getting ready to migrate, so she might have already been migrating, therefore putting power lines out of the problem. So she wouldn't have gotten shocked looking at John, wouldn't have to learn.
Pretty much that's the story what we go on because
Yeah, if she would have migrated.
If she didn't run into the power line, the problem would still remain. Because like when she did get shot by the power line, John tried to get that solved where it would be lowered, and if she never went into it, it would still be out of
because they like didn't like all the kids wrote the note to Alexa to get her look at it.
And then Sean wouldn't have to take, not Sean, Sean would have to take her, wouldn't have to want to find her and have him take her to the school and show her what happened to her.
And nobody would really cared like if Falcons got shocked because they didn't know much about it.
And because Sam interacts with Frightful, she doesn't really have to worry about food because they hunt together.
Okay, so, did it look a lot different this time?
Yeah.
It did look a lot different. Were there really any pauses in this one? No, there weren't, and I'll come back and ask about that in a second, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. JT.
I noticed my partner didn't say anything.
Yeah, she's just
Does it surprise you guys sometimes who is actually talking?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't expect Izzy to say as much as she did, and she jumped right on in, and I was impressed with that. And I expected Brooke probably to say more, and Brooke didn't say a word. And I was surprised by that.
Not to say anything.
She didn't say anything.
No, Erica didn't either. And I expected Zane probably to talk a little bit more than, but Matt really picked up, and had a lot to say too. So I'm interested to see how this always works out. Kylie.
Well, I liked how I thought that was cool. There was like barely any pauses, and you could have said something, and Zane could have said a little bit more.
Okay. Kobe.
Zane had a lot of evidence.
He did. The things that he said were really good. Nolan.
I think it was they were better at pauses, not having enough pauses, and they talked and agreed better than I did and other people did.
Do you think it felt like a real conversation?
Yep.
It had a naturalness to it, didn't it? Which was one of the things is our goal on the inner circle is to have like a real conversation, and that felt more this way. Alexis?
I think that Sean and Tegan did a great job starting the discussion off, getting everyone ready and for them to say something. I think that Izzy, Matt, and Zane got into this discussion very well after Sean and Tegan got finished saying what they needed to say. I think that Brooke and Erica could have said something because Brooke's got a strong voice. And Erica, yes, we all know you do too. So I think they could have said something more.
Yeah. Janae.
I think Tegan did excellent because he did pretty much the same thing what JT did, encourage them, but I do think Erica and Brooke could have said something at least.
Marshall.
I honestly didn't expect Sean to say very much, but he really started the conversation off and he really said a lot and brought a lot to the
Was he pretty comfortable in his talking? Yeah, Sean was a very confident speaker. Very confident. Jack.
I think Matt made a good point about the power lines.
He did. I was looking over at Mrs. Byrne and both of us were nodding, and it was a totally different argument that was brought in, and I'm like, that's a really good argument, and both of us were smiling. We're like, go Matt. Jordan.
I have to say something. If you think someone like Brooke is gonna speak out a lot more than like Matthew would, maybe you need to think the opposite. Maybe you need to think Matthew would speak out more than Brooke. That happened.
And it teaches us that sometimes where our ideas of people are not always correct, are they? I obviously had certain conceptions of what I thought was going to happen, and it didn't turn out that way at all, which I love that I was just wrong. Dawson.
I thought Brooke was gonna like talk 9 to nothing.
Summer.
I think that Tegan did really good.
You did.
And I think that, well, Erica met her goal because she didn't want to embarrass herself when she was on. She didn't talk at all.
Okay. I want to give a shout. This group did. Those of you who went and got involved, you were confident, you were strong, you gave evidence, you brought in different points, you followed each other's conversations. Even with Erica and Brooke not going ahead and involving themselves, they at least tracked who was speaking. They were looking at them. They were at least encouraging in their body language. So they could have been distracting, they could have done something else, but they didn't. So in their own way, they still kept conversation going by not taking away from the conversation either. So what we're going to do is the next two groups will do this tomorrow. Put your stuff in,